All right. What it is, live and direct, off the cuff radio. We doing this a different way. I'm your host, King Eric, the Media Assassin. This show is sponsored by Buddy Boy Entertainment, Screwball Radio, Da Vinci Clothing. Got my host T Mans with the facts on the line. What's good?
1, 2, 1, 2. What it do? We get live and direct on this tremendous Thursday of OTC. Shout out to our co-host, Sandman, Lady Chinchilla. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we cannot forget our man, DJ Sincere from Dirty Basement Radio up in New York. Tonight is a very special night. This man right here we have with us is the beacon of benevolence, the sage of all things wisdom. He is all things a maven in managing, educational excellence, and just all around being a tremendously great guy. Shout out to the whole Rockefeller family, Pain in the Ass, Petey Crack, Freeway, Chino and Sparks. Man, it was a great time meeting all of them over the summer. And this is the man with the master plan we have on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, and also an educator at the Freeway Freedom Thinkers Academy, Hennessy Kev. What's going on, man?
What's going on, family? How you feeling?
We good, man. We good, man.
Yes, sir.
Happy to have you.
I appreciate you, man. I'm glad that shit is recorded. I'm going to be able to play that before we do anything. That's going to be the first thing you hear before I walk out for my Instagram open the whole nine. I like that shit. What it is, though. How you feeling?
We good, brother.
We are great, man. What about yourself?
Nah, I'm amazing, King. Amazing, King. Like, life is beautiful. I just finished, my birthday. You know what I mean? So that shit was well. You know what I mean? 2023 wrapping up, we rolling into 2024. You know what I mean? So it's a beautiful thing. I'm amazing.
Yeah, and look, this is a blessing. It's an honor. I mean, once again,
thank you.
Thank you to all the courtesy and, hospitality and generosity you all showed me when I met y'all, when y'all came to Portsmouth on this tour, man. I mean, that is like one of the highlights of our life, man.
Oh, man, thank you, man. It's an honor on our side. Now, I mean, contribution to the culture is endless. So, now, I mean, just appreciate the love, respect, and support. Now, I mean, it's like people like you that push the culture and preserve the culture. And that's what it's about. People use that term culture loosely, but then you keep using it loosely, then, everything all falls apart. So, it's people like you that's the glue that keep it together. So, people like y'all, I should say, and the whole team over there. So just salute to y'all. That's what we do.
Appreciate it, man. And that seemed like that was a dope night, man. Like, how did you was able to get that together? Because that seemed like a challenge within itself. We ain't getting a lot of people at because based off their schedules and probably some people wanted pay. I'm not talking about them per se, but you know how it is when you're trying to book nostalgia acts.
Yes, sir. Well, the great thing in regards to legacy acts and nostalgia acts, I like to call them legacy acts, is because good music never dies. It don't go nowhere. And there's always these fans of good music, whether it's throwback fans or new fans that just kind of, fell back and got in tune. And in regards to people like Freeway, Mac, you know what I mean? I'm trying to remember who else was on that. Bleak was there. You know what I'm saying? It was that night. You know what I mean? The rock reunion type situation. They always gonna move because of the records, and they're actually brothers. You know what I mean? They're actually people that friends that rock out and talk on a regular basis. So, I could call Bleak and be like, yo, Free got this going on. Word, I'm there. But Mac, Free, we call Mac, yo, we call him Mac Beans. Yo, we got something going over here. Yo, Free, you down with it? Yep, all right, cool, I'm there. That's just how it goes. So people will clear their schedules just to, be able to rock out with their brothers. And the pay is just icing on top.
Man, I mean, that's something to see it, because one thing about it, the energy that you all brought, it was something that shows where some people try to say where today, some of the old school may not be as viable. You all shot that argument full of holes because of the excitement. Getting it back to the 90s and early 2000s all over again. The people that we all grew up listening to, people that inspired us to go into journalism because we wanted to connect more with it. And to see these people was amazing, man. So obviously you and your distinguished pedigree in history, Kev, tell us about, how you saw this, personally from your experience in the industry and how you ended up connecting with the rock. We got a lot to cover.
Oh wow, that's wow. All right, so essentially I began designing with Averex. We talk about the '90s, so that was one of the most powerhouses in regards to clothing lines, and just running around working with Jeff and Jackie and Sammy over at Soul City. Don't forget Allen, Wonderland. You know what I mean? A lot of people over there that we was working with. And essentially, my role was, not only helping with the design team, but just getting the coats out there to the world. So anytime you saw an Averex jacket, let's say, 97 on, you know what I mean? That was a product of, my work and what I was doing out there in the streets, making sure everybody was connected. So any video shoot, any, photo shoot, any tour, anything moving, I made sure that people had a coat on. The one also, and we also had boots and book bags, and people forget that. We had a lot of things, but the one thing that I essentially made sure that I was able to do was just not only did I, shake the hand of the celebrity or the up and coming artist, but also shake the hand of everybody that was around me. So that's everybody that was sweeping, anybody that was, making calls, interning at the time. I made sure that those were my peoples. So, as those people was, at one level as we're all coming up, regardless of what I'm doing, now they're executives in the game. They're CEOs over here, they're A&Rs over here, fast forward years later. So that's how I'm able to amass the different contacts and things of that nature that I have now. So that was, all from Averex in the beginning. And I'm going to bounce all over the place because I know that we have, a lot to cover.
It's all good.
Damn, a couple hours.
What to go with?
No doubt, but that's how my actual foray into the industry came from, and I was blessed to be a part of them, but my whole, I would say, career is fell forward, and the reason why I say that is because I made a lot of mistakes back then. Like my pay, and I'm just being 100%. They were paying me $400 a month for nothing, $400 a month in expenses to do all the shit that I was doing. I was moving a $1 billion company at the time, and they were paying me peanuts. And I'm not, shit. I'm hoping we can curse and, be 100.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, perfect. But I'm not shitting on them, but not like that because, it established me in the entertainment industry. I was across the street from Bad Boy, across the street from Funkmaster Flex. When before he was really Flex, but he was still doing his thing. There was still Bugsy and Red Alert on the radio. Tommy Boy was right there. Rockefeller was right around the corner. You know what I'm saying? So I was in the mix of all of that. But I still had a family to feed. It was giving me peanuts. So unfortunately, I decided to walk away from that. I was in the streets. But so that's what I did from there. But they also led me into Just Blaze. So I was an artist at the time. So that was also a point where I had to flirt the line between, do I tell people that I rhyme or do I keep, pumping these Averex coats? So it also taught me when to open my mouth and talk about me, and when to shut the hell up and promote my brand, and and keep the bigger picture in mind. So there's a lot of things that I learned from them. So that's it's a lot. And I apologize once again, bouncing back and forth, but in regards to Just Blaze, I was working with my manager at the time, Wonderland. Crazy thing, Wonder also was managing Joel Santana before he got with Cameron. So there's a lot of situations, right? So he took me. We used to go to this recording studio called the Cutting Room, and at that time, Nasty. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nasty, but he used to do beats and record for everybody. So he was in Studio A, and everybody was there. Just used to be the engineer over there. And one day Just put on a beat, and that beat was just amazing. I ain't never heard nothing like it. So I just started rhyming, to the track, and I was like, I can't work with nobody else but Just. And we started working. So me and Just, started to rock out, and I got a project done with him for like 9 Averex jackets.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And the crazy thing is that I want to say the whole Harlem World project was probably my first EP, to be honest with you, which is crazy. A lot of the stuff. So then that's why if you ever look at my Instagram, or, you know what I mean, shit that I post and I say keep going. Consistency is key, stuff like that. The reason why is because, once again, my hot-headedness, me thinking that I'm bigger than what I was at the time because I'm running around with AV, but I'm getting $400. Like, you know, you could be feeling yourself. You know, there's a lot of things that could happen. I dipped and I did something, you know what I mean, that I shouldn't have been doing. Let me say that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so, you know what I mean? It's just things of that nature, you know, in regards to entertainment. So, I fell back for a minute, because of decisions made, and then I decided that, I came back. So when I came back to NY, a couple kids later, a couple baby moms later, you know what I'm saying? I come back to NY, and I decided, you know what I mean? I still was doing the music, but, when you're doing the music, but you're not really, you got one foot in, one foot out, it really, you can only concentrate on one thing at one time. You could do a lot of times, but you could really do one thing well at one time. So I came back and I got back into the music, and I was rocking back with my brother ALC Chaos and my other brother JV from Disrespect Wear. And we decided to jump back into the music, called Soundbar. Once again, I was an artist, but then I bounced and I went into the Source magazine building and I saw one of my peoples in there, and they was doing the Source, of course, but they were trying to revitalize it and capture the streets. So then we started to do this thing called, I don't know if you guys remember, Spit 16.
Yeah.
We used to go all over the nation, and we used to have people spit 16 bars. We had everybody doing that. But at that time, when I came back with the Spit 16, a lot of the people, once again, like I said, from Averex, one person was, head writer at the Source. Had another person that was the lead A&R, I believe, at, what was that label back in the day? Ah, shit, I think it was Electra. That's what it was. Like once again, as I was telling you in the beginning, those people that was A&Rs and interns but now growing, the Lyricist Lounge. I don't know if you remember them.
Yeah, I remember the TV show.
Turned into, they had a TV show. Yeah, exactly. Those are all my people from AV. I come back, Lyricist Lounge, out of here. You feel what I'm saying? So as I'm back, reconnecting, I'm able to call those people and, plug right back in because of the A1 solid relationships I had. So they helped propel me. So now I'm working with Spit 16, and that leads me to Double XL hosting. That leads me to the Underground Music Awards hosting, so that was my foray at that. And as I'm hosting, I'm still meeting different people. I was able to give Joyner Lucas his first Underground Music Award. Remy Ma, her first Underground Music Award. Who was my son, the person that you know today. I was managing and working with him with Bang Bang Boogie. I don't know if you guys remember, he had a group with my song, Cuban Link. Who else was it? Tariq from Peter Guns and Lord Tariq. I don't know if you guys remember. Bang Bang Boogie, he was in that group. So it was just a lot of just hip hop in my blood, just dissecting and going back and forth. And once again, I'm bouncing because
it's all good.
You know what I mean?
You're telling us some stories that we're like, wow.
Yeah, salute. I just been through, a lot in regards to, this industry and this game. And then, as I'm moving through that, I linked back up with my brother Shyheim. So, and Shyheim, shout out to Shyheim, the Rugged Child. He was the first person that I would say that I had worked with artists, but I managed one-on-one. And this is when, he was already Shyheim, already Parenthood, already, with everything you knew him for. But, he wasn't really being respected in his eyes as the artist and the lyricist and the person that he was. So, and I just so happened to be living in his mom's old crib. So one day he came to the crib, he knocked on the door. And then I answered the door. And, I think he was like, yo, my mom said stay here. And you had, did a couple, I appreciate that. And it was just such a genuine dude that we just connected. And from there, we had a couple conversations. I was like, yo, bro, I got a couple connection industry. Whatever you want to do, let's get it. And then we just started building. And from there, I don't know if you guys remember, you see Shyheim, every time World Star, World Star was big at the time. Shyheim always on the big box. Media Takeout was big. That was like the shade room back then. You made sure that we had, when the blogs wasn't really blogs at the moment. Everything was moving. Shyheim. We were just, working to get him plugged in and really named back to where that we knew that it should be. And we was working on a movie. We had just did this record with Nizzle, which is popping right now. Shout out. Called Mama, I Killed the Man. It was like everything was just clicking. And then, unfortunately, it's unfortunate incarceration kind of slowed that down.
Yeah, when you everything.
Exactly. So, we had to hit pause on that. And I know that I skipped over, a couple of things. Salute to anybody that I kind of, skipped over. I'm sure as you start asking me questions, I'm going to, double back. But, But that, Shy kind of sitting down slowed me down. And then it left me to a situation where I didn't have that A1 artist to rock out, but then it left me with me, if that makes sense. So then I'm back to my artistry because at the same time, I never stopped rhyming. Never. But I just always knew when to put both foot ahead and work on me, or just kind of fall back and make sure the person that I was working with had the light. Because I knew that, what happens with light, it spins, but it's going to hit everybody one time. You feel what I'm saying? That's just what you do with that light when you get it. And I know that, the people that I'm working with, when they got the light, I know that me standing next to them, I'm going to be able to do what I need to do to succeed so that way our conversations and our relationships are mutually beneficial. So that's another thing that I like to weave throughout all my relationships is that it's mutually beneficial. You get this, I get that, we both win, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So, And it's just, I could keep going, brother.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
I'm answering your questions.
Yeah, it's all good because I was going to talk about with Shy. What people don't realize, man, Shy came out like 1993, 94, had a 4, and this was big at the time, 4-mic album. And he had features with Big and Pac and Big Daddy Kane.
Shyheim was one of the first, if you think about Wu-Tang members actually signed to a deal. Shyheim was actually bigger than the Wu, and salute to the Wu. When the food first dropped. So the thing was, Shyheim was moving, and then, life, what they say, life be lifing, it was a situation where, things happen. He does his thing, come back, but Shyheim is a master lyricist, he's an amazing actor, as everybody know, and he puts together, great songs. So, it was a lethal combination. So, salute to Shy. Salute to Shyheim. But, once again, when he went down, back to, myself. So I'm working on my music with of course, the whole family. And unfortunately, something happened in the studio. Unfortunate circumstance, unfortunate situation over at Soundbar. Don't want to get too deep into it. But once again, some street shit. It's always some, sometimes the world, they say, is a yin and a yang. And y'all can jump in whenever y'all want because I got stories for days. But it's like I want to make sure, I keep track of, your time and respect where y'all going and then still
it's all good.
Stay on path for the topic we want to talk about. But the world is a yin and a yang, right? And it's like you going to have the good and you going to have the bad. You got to accept both. So at the time when me and Soundbar, and it's crazy because, one of my baby moms found a whole bag of CDs and shit that we had. And she took a photo of it. She said, "You want me to throw them away? You want to grab them?" And I'm like, "I don't want to see your ass, but I'm going to grab them." I want these motherfuckers. So I've been riding around listening to it for the past couple of days. So it's crazy to talk about it. So we was hand to hand in the street, 5 boroughs. The project was called Fly Rap Money 1, Fly Rap Money 2. And I had to move at least with 30,000-40,000 out the trunk, hand to hand with it. We did interview with Marley Marl. I don't know if y'all familiar with Marley Marl.
Of course, the symphony.
Exactly.
One of the goats.
Like, what I mean? Just got, you know how it goes sometimes. What I mean? He invited us up to the crib. He invited us up to the crib. DJ Self, I skipped over him. Salute to Self. I remember Self, he gonna be mad at me when he was 2-2. Like he used to DJ at house parties at Purchase. And this is love, me saying this, me about Self. Like, I'm proud of Self. That's my man. So I hope that didn't come off the wrong way. But I remember Self, from early days. So every time I see Self anywhere, I smile. First time I met Self, he used to DJ at Purchase University, and he used to DJ all the house parties. He did the first mixtape. I mean, salute to him. But what happened was, we was running around the city so much that a chick that he was messing with actually gave him a CD. It was like, yo, check this out. I did it. He called up. He was like, yo, these are my people. So that's how much he was moving. But long story short, I had said something on the record. I said, it was called, Get It Right. And I said, ain't nothing fell but the towers. And across the street from our spot was a spot called the Towers. A long story short, we was going back and forth with some big thing. So, you know what I mean? So we got some street shit. So we had to fall back from that because, certain things happened, da-da-da. So I don't want to get too deep into it. But then once again, it's the yin and the yang. So I had to kind of fall back from the scene. And then, once again, here's me reinventing myself all over again. So a lot of stops that I've made throughout the career that I'm in is a reinvention of exactly who I am and who I've been, from day one. And that's how I'm gonna bring it back full circle in regards to Fail Forward. And I'll fast forward through a couple of things once again because it's some street shit. I'm in Philly, right? So 11/22 is the day that my pops passed away.
Oh man,
and that's why I call my company 11/22. We died Thanksgiving 11/22. And I decided to be everything that he wanted me to be before he passed. And the last thing, I used to have long locks. They used to go all the way past my knees. Anybody that know me, they used to call me Kev Black, or Big Apple. And I used to have, locks all the way down. And I decided to chop them one day. I don't even know what it was. I just woke up in the morning and, one of the conversations I had with Just after he chopped his head, I was like, what made you cut your hair? He was like, man, I just, it just was what it was. So I decided to chop him. And then the crazy thing was the week after I decided to cut him, my pops never visits me. He came to the crib.
Oh, wow.
And he was, never visits me because I had moved. Because of, whatever. Came to the crib. He was like, oh, shit. Yo, you chopped all that shit off your head. You know what I mean? I love where you living. You got a front yard. You got a backyard. You know what I mean? You got the kids all over you. You looking like a businessman. You looking like legacy. That's what he told me. You know what I'm saying? And this is like, I want to say September. And then, November he died.
Man.
So, you know what I mean? So it's crazy because it's like, damn. And the look in his eyes that he gave me was like this proud father looking at his son like, yeah, this is the nigga that I've been wanting to see where he been at. You feel what I'm saying? So now everything that I do, I left all the real street shit and the negative things that was about me. I left that, the day that my pops kind of got in the car and drove away. And the day that, I put him in the ground, I was like, all right, I'm going to just make sure that whatever kind of look that he had on his face that I remember, I'm going to make sure that I keep projecting that to the world because I like the way that I felt when he looked at me, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in 11/22 and, I'm running around and I'm trying to build because I still got music in me. So I'm doing music, but then I also own a recording studio called 11/22 Studio. And I'm in Philly. And, Philly, I love Philly. You know what I mean? Philly is one of, I call it the home of the spitters because that's one of the things, and no disrespect to any other city, that's the closest to lyricism as it relates to NY that I've been around. I lived in a lot of places, and I've heard a lot of bar work, but I haven't heard corner for corner, street for street, the amount of people that can actually rhyme and put words together and songs together than Philly, if that makes sense. So I wanted to put together a team of artists, and one of the artists on the team was a dude named Son of the 215. I don't know if you're familiar with him. But, he was, he's a hard worker. He puts a lot of good music out. One of the people, that stood out. And, we started working, connected really closely. And I've always been, booking artists and once again, jumping around. And the only reason why is because of all of the connections that I met along the way. So not only as I'm rhyming, but, rhyme don't really pay the bills if you're not, even if you are a Jay-Z or even if you are a Big or a Tech Nine, you making money, you get popularity. But back then, your popularity wasn't even equaling dollars. So you had to do other things to make money. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I would do is those shows. I was one of the first people to have Funkmaster Flex come to Staten Island because I was, I booked him to those shows, but then my contract date wasn't right. So, God bless the dead. Flex came in, he spun 5 records, and then he brought Big Cap.
Yeah.
And shout out to Big Cap, and he DJ'd the rest of the night. That's because I didn't have the paperwork right. But long story short, I was always booking artists and throwing shows. So one time we booked Freeway, and I booked Freeway a couple times, and Freeway did this post on Instagram about who wants to be a freedom thinker. And Son is just everything Philly. His name's Son in 215. He embodies Philly. And this motherfucker, he screenshotted it. He sent me the caption. He was like, "Yo, I think Free looking for artists." And we was going to Atlanta at the time. So I was like, "Word?" He was like, "Yeah, I think you're looking for artists. I see these chains over here, Freedom Thinkers Academy." I was like, he was like, "Yo, let's set something up." So I said, "You know what? I'm booking for something, and then I'm see if we can play him your project and see what's going on. Because that way, as I said, mutually beneficial. We put some money in his pocket. He pull up, he listen to your project, he like the project. At least he gonna pull up, looking for the bread. He gonna leave with a smile because he got money in his pocket, and then we play him some heat and see what's going on. So as he pulls up, my man Clemmy, shout out to Clemmy. Clemmy pulls up, and we play him some records. And as we playing him the records, I'm explaining to him and playing him in order the different records, of Son and why we did this and how we put together that and blah blah blah. So he bounced, and then Clemmy calls Son, like, "Yo, I fuck with your shit. What's up with Kev? What Kev do? Give Kev my number." And then Son gives Clemmy my number. Clemmy calls me. We have another meeting, and then Clemmy was like, "Listen, man, I love Son's music. We gonna fuck with Son. And we want to fuck with you too and bring you on board. I just like the way that you put things together." And then that's how the whole Freedom Thinkers Academy situation came about. So I guess that was the long way of answering your question.
Hey man, that's and at the same time you was giving us a real dope, rich history lesson behind your journey. And then that's because it's a story that's needed to be told and needed to be heard, man. Like you play your position and making sure a lot of these artists is either refining their voice or getting their voice out there. That's why we wanted to bring you on.
Appreciate that. Salute, brother.
Yeah.
It means a lot.
And
it means
Free.
a lot. Like, once again, just talking about hip hop, it's in my blood. And, I had a decision to make at the time, right? When I got the studio, it was crazy because 1122 Studio, the reason why I made it the way I made it was that I wanted to be a one-stop shop for an artist to have everything that I didn't have when I was coming up in the game. So we did photography, videography, recording, mixing, mastering. Then I did all of the marketing, advertising, A&R work, the touring, the booking. So it was everything. So I had everything that I needed at my hand to do it for myself. But then I'm like, how can I really navigate through Philly? Can I navigate through Philly, as an artist with all this shit? Or can I use what I have to help everybody else take a step back? So that's what I decided to do. So I never picked up a pen again.
Yeah, tell us about the work that goes into not only networking, but also making sure these artists don't be taken advantage of, and at the same time, getting booked in the right places. Like, tell us about your day-to-day operation working with
Yes,
these
sir.
artists.
So being an operations manager, and that's a great question, it's twofold because I believe that booked in the right places is a loaded statement. So for up and coming artists, there's no such thing. You want to be booked in anywhere. You know what I mean? If you can get booked in a garage for 20 people, take that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like people that say, I don't like to do showcases. Now, you could say that I've outgrown certain showcases or I keep performing at the same showcases. That's a different statement than saying that I don't like to do showcases. Then just hop your ass in the car, go to another state, and then do the same showcase someplace else. That's what I would say. But in regards to established artists, absolutely. we all have a hamster wheel that we could be on depending upon the level that you're on. There's a hamster wheel on every level. And every artist respectfully can get comfortable with being at a certain level and keep doing their hamster wheel on that level. So there's certain places that the mainstream artists don't need to be at as well. Now, I mean, you've done that. So now it's time to, that's why, Fat Joe said the illest thing that he could have, yesterday's price is not today's price. That's why once you start to perform on bigger stages, now you get bigger bags. So my job when I work for artists like Freeway or Mac, Bleak, is to make sure that their stages get bigger and bigger or their pay gets higher and higher because they make more money, I make more money. You know what I mean? They perform in stadiums, they get stadium pay, I get stadium pay. And, if anybody ever opened up a paycheck, who wants to get less than they made last week? Feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's, as an operations manager, that's not only, okay, Kev pull up and he booked the shows. I'm looking for opportunities so that way, we can better ourselves, not only in life, but in our career to be able to, once again, leave a legacy for ourselves and our family. So that's why right now, Free's always been who Free is. So I don't ever want to take that away. Or Mac has always been who Mac is. But, with me, I don't just wait for the phone to ring. I pick up the phone and I call to make sure that, we can uncover some opportunities or some areas that may have been there, but just, haven't been turned over, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you know what, man, and listening to a lot of Mac's material and listen to a lot of Free's material, because before we bring you on, I like to get in that mindset of listening to the artists that you manage and work with. I gotta say that those guys are like pretty much the backbone of Rockefeller. That really still don't get that look. They was like the muscle of Rockefeller.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest, bro. And I don't care what nobody say. They kept Jay afloat. If it wasn't, and I was in NY at the time, you feel what I'm saying? And Jay-Z, from what I remember was Kingdom Come, you feel what I'm saying? And the Black Album, and this, that, and the third. But you insert Mac when he went after Nas and put Mac and Free next to him, you feel what I'm saying? That's what gave him that bravado and that take off the blazer, loosen up the tie. You feel what I'm saying? He was able to do all of that stuff because he knew he had wolves around him that was going to be able to do and say whatever they wanted to do and say. And when you say the backbone, it was the backbone, the spine, the legs, the heart, everything. This was exactly what Jay needed, to be able to keep going and pushing to success at the level that they are. So I always salute the state property, every single member.
Yeah, especially when you listen to those old tapes when they was going at everybody. This was like around time where New York was like it was pretty much like UFC and WWE. It was like a combat zone around that time.
Yes,
I remember
sir.
Beans
Yes,
and Free, they were going at it. Anybody that had beef with Jay, they was on front line. They was going at Nas. They was going at the Locks. They was going at Mobb Deep. They didn't care.
yo, one thing, and I'm gonna always say it. I'm gonna say it proud. Wifey will tell you. I'm a fan of hip hop first. So a lot of times when I'm listening on the phone and we having these three-way calls, I could be on the call with Free, Beans, and Bleak, and they just telling stories I've never heard. And then I'm quiet as a church mouse, bro. I'm just listening. You feel what I'm saying? Just hear the behind the scenes shit of what was going on at the time. Yo, epic, bro. And then to see like Free just popped out for the Locks. I think the Locks and Mary J had something over in Westchester for the first time. And to know that, how hard they was going back then and how real the words were for both of them groups and now how close they are. You feel what I'm saying? It's amazing. It's amazing, bro.
And you know what, man? And I was telling T this. I tell this to T all the time. I felt that the beef or the battle between Beans and Jada, that overshadowed Jay and Nas to me. That was the better battle.
Hell yeah.
That was the
hands down.
That was better battle to me because I don't know if anybody, a lot of our base follow wrestling. I was like, if Jay-Z and Nas was Hogan and Andre, Jada and Beans was Savage and Steamboat. You know what I'm saying? They stole the show, son.
Yeah, you talking about language. Remember Ricky the Dragon?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
They
Yes, sir. You're right
Savages,
about that, man.
they
Like
stole
that's
the show
and
right there.
honestly, I think, and I'm not putting this out there, but I think Jada might want to do over. To be honest with you, because Bees went bully on it. It could have went either way, it depending upon who you a fan of, and this, that, and the third. But the bully went hard, bro. Bees went ape shit.
Yeah, both crews
That
went
was
hard,
that was a
man. I
great
was like,
battle. That
this
was a
was like
great
the
battle,
only
bro.
battle I felt it turned out to be like a tie. I was like,
Mm.
it could go either way.
I didn't like the disco record, to be honest. I mean, it was cool, but I don't know. That's the only thing that I would say. That's the only thing that I would say.
Well,
But other than
you talk about the
that,
one where he was stunned on the disco beat.
yeah, started on the disco beat. It's cool, but that was the only thing I would say. But other than that, man, that shit was classic. And then one of the illest lines that people don't even talk about or people don't remember was on the DJ Clue tape when Styles P all I see when you throw up the rock is upside down pussy.
I said, God,
fuck around and leave you upside down pussy. Like that was probably where I think I stopped the car, stopped the tape. That was one of the illest to me, hands down. So yeah, that was raw.
And it's dope how now they put that behind them and they still put out dope music together. That's the crazy thing about it, because you would think while hearing those records, those dudes hated each other's guts. You thought it was gonna probably be on site, but they end up being close.
Let them tell it, like, and that's. I'm sure you talk to Free, you talk to Styles, you talk to Jada. Like them bars, them words was real, from my understanding, you know. And I'm not going to take these stories away, but what I'm gonna say is that there was venom behind them words. And now when they see each other, there's a lot of Locks and State Prop shows, and Locks Dipset State Prop shows. There's genuine love there. That's real. Like you see people that shake hands and pose for pictures.
Yeah.
Those are not them. Them the type of niggas that they call and check in on families. They call and check in on how your day's doing. Like you be sitting in the car, we were riding somewhere with Free about to hop on a flight, and Jada just FaceTime on real quick. That type of time.
Yeah, T, we was talking about the Rockefeller D block back and forth, and I was telling them how I told you how that's probably the GOAT battle to me, even better than Jay-Z and Nas to me, because it was the battle that we didn't even know who was going to be a real victor, because all of them went hard.
Yep.
Man, I mean, when we think about that time, you're talking about the pinnacle in that 2000s era where you simultaneously had different crews. And my apologies, I had to take care of something, so I was gone for a second. But yeah, but the thing is, you had State Property. I mean, you had D Block, Rough Riders. I mean, it was just Rockefeller. I mean, it was just a whole. I mean, even Bad Boy during the time, it was still. It's one of those things that you just tell people you had to be there to really understand how special it was with that abundance of music, the abundance of classics created, the culture, how everything was so attention to detail oriented in terms of making the most of a movement. The era was different. I mean, the marketing was different. When you look at that time, Kev, in terms of the battle, which was, like King said, one of the greatest ever, what did you notice in that time about how the music was marketed and how artists were signed, how budgets were allotted, and how, the image, not so much the image, but how everything was orchestrated in terms of rollouts for artists?
That's a great question. People actually worked records back then. The rollout, in regards to things coming out, there was actually promo tours. There was promo runs back then, right now, and I don't even know who first came out with this. People drop records in the middle of the night. Boom, this is out. Boom, that's out. That's where a lot of artists right now, they tend to emulate these established artists that's out. Say, hey, I dropped something on YouTube. Hey, I dropped something on Spotify. But when? Where? Like, who knows about it? How? You know what I'm saying? Back then, the marketing was real. We had things like 106 in Park that are not out there. We had what was that the Basement. You know what I'm saying? Where artists would come down there and talk about the project that they had coming out. We had different shows where even Martin, had Big come on and do his record Like we found ways within our hip hop era and our hip hop culture to promote up and coming things that were coming out. You know what I'm saying? So that was one thing, and the other thing was the cohesiveness. A lot of people don't talk about. Shout out June Balloon and Shan the Butcher. Those are two people that taught me what marketing and promotion was. They actually they was part of a street team. I haven't seen a street team in years. Only time I see a street team is when you go to South by Southwest, and a lot of artists don't even know what South by Southwest is. You know what I'm saying? But those are people that, you know what I mean, whenever Big was somewhere, they was there 2 hours before, making sure the streets knew and felt that Big was on the way. You know what I'm saying? So that was the difference about, you know what I mean, G-Unit. 50 was a marketing genius. And a lot of people don't know, Jay helped Fifth. Fifth did was capitalize off of beef, which is what he does now. He's been doing that from day one. But I think
when Jay said, "I'm a dollar," what the fuck is 50
cent? Exactly. And they was in the same room at the same time when he said it. And then he comes off stage and he gave him a pound. He was like, "You're welcome."
Man, that's a hookup.
Same time. You're welcome.
But you know, Kev, when we think about it too, when we're talking about the rhyme battles back and forth and quote unquote beef, even back in the day, you never felt like, it's like for a time when we look at what happened with Tupac and Big, everybody kind of understood how things could escalate. And where there was rhyme battles, as intense as the guy with State Property, you know, in D-Block, you never had the impression that it was going to ever turn violent. Even with Jay and 50, Jay and Nas, you never had the impression it was ever going to turn violent. What was it like back in the day in terms of you being in the industry heavy, seeing artists? Because obviously nobody got along with everybody.
Yeah.
We know that. But how many situations, you don't have to name names, of course, how many situations were that we don't know about that could have actually gone one way, but then how many of them that you knew this was strictly going to just go to rhyme and then it would never go to anything else? And how did we... Go ahead.
I'm going to say this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Honestly, and you know, we talking real, you know what I mean? And I'm glad you say you don't have to name names. It's still the same. And nothing changed. A lot of people that got beat up, stabbed up, shot up, you know what I mean? But it just wasn't publicized. The world put a spotlight on, you know what I mean, the Big and the Jay-Z and this, that, and the third, and the media and this, that, and the third came in. You've heard a lot of, and I don't want to, you know what I mean, God bless the dead. I'm trying to dance around a couple things. I've seen people get smacked in the club, artists. You know what I mean? I've seen people get jumped, beat up over things that was said on wax. You know what I'm saying? Like artists, when they say artists are sensitive about their shit, they are. There's people that are sitting in jail because they shot somebody because somebody said something on a record. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of hood tales. And you know what I mean? And you know, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to tell other people's stories. You know what I'm saying? But you can dig into it. But so what I'll say is this. A lot of artists, and I would say in New York City, and I'm pretty sure that there's stories similar to in every hood, in every city, in every state. But I know for a fact in New York City, if you said something about somebody else and somebody got wind of it, they was coming to see you to see if what you said was serious. Right. If it was words, or if you had words, or you had beef. And if you had beef, we can handle the beef. If you had words, then I'm going to come back to you with words. But if it wasn't serious, we were going to look you man to man in the eyes to see what's real. So that happened. I think that it was over sensationalized and it was used as monetization. And that's where we get this, you know what I mean? Are we going to keep the beef on wax or are we going to take it to the street? But long story short, it's always been that way. Now, I think right now, for the inception of the internet, you got a lot of internet beefers, and you got a lot of people that like the throw rocks and hide their hands for what people would say. And I think personally, I think that's new.
Yeah, and see, we come from a different time, man, because back in the day, you understood the implications in terms of even an insult. You know, we're not saying, and I'm not going to say these names about people saying that they were involved in anything, but I'm just saying these in terms of individuals who have a very real street reputation. You know, like guys like 50, you know, Fat Joe, shout out to the whole Bronx, him, Pistol Pete, you know, the whole Terror Squad and KAR, you know, French Montana, you know, Red Cafe, shout out to Shakedown. Yeah, man. Rest in peace, Bullet, man. But shout out to him, Buddy Crumb, and all those are my guys.
Yeah, salute. So you know it. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. You know, Fresh. You know, all those dudes, man. You know, and it's like, you know, their reputations in the street are well earned in terms of what goes on that we did not know and are supposed to know. And I think a lot of times, because like you said, Kev and King, when we're looking at what's going on now, the internet age, we're seeing a lot of individuals who look at it as a bigger stage to get on, having to do less work, acting like they put in work, and then they end up getting work.
Yep, absolutely. Or trying to prove something that they're not. You have a lot of people that, you know what I mean, and you said it perfectly. But now that they jumped on wax and said, I'm this, that, and the third, now they got to walk in the street and act like they're this, that, and the third, when they're not that at their heart. It's not who they are. So I'm saying one thing I learned about 50 was, you know what I mean? And I don't know 50 personally. I've been around him a couple of times. But from what I've observed about 50, I believe he is what he said he is. You know what I'm saying? Because not too many people would diss the Woo. If you look at history, right, who's really went on record and dissed the Woo outside of 50? And when 50 said something light, he just said, "This is funny ass rings." You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? That's all he said. And the Woo definitely has something to say about it. But you know what I mean? It's like people like to portray the role. You know what I mean? It's just crazy to me.
And I think of what it was too. At that time, nobody want their name mentioned at all, whatever it be positive or negative.
Yeah.
It was that people don't understand how serious and cliquish the 90s really was. I mean, even the 80s was too, but the 90s, it was a lift and grind, like, especially if the way he was coming out saying he want to rob niggas, they took it a different way. Now, you know, it's different between you poking fun at people and stuff, but you talking about robbing them. I think that's where people took it personal.
So let me ask you a question, because I went back and forth and I listened to it a couple times.
Yeah.
Is it the first thing that comes out when you hear the record is "This ain't serious"? Isn't that what it says?
Exactly. Niggas won't try to hear that back then.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I think that was intentional. But niggas was exactly what you wasn't trying to hear it. But it was in the first line of the record was "This ain't serious."
Man.
He was trying to play. He was trying to play, but niggas ain't playing.
Man.
Especially then, he was perfect. That encapsulates the 90s right there. We ain't trying to play with you. What you talking about?
Nah, that's all that was, because they was like, that's the opening line. I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's what's overlooked about the whole thing. I'm like, did y'all listen to the chorus? He was trolling.
It tells you right there.
But that go to show you back then, man, it was serious. You can even give somebody a compliment, they'll take it as a diss. They like, oh, what, nigga? I was like, man, look, we was proud of you.
It was a great question though, because there's a lot of that goes on. Like, somebody comes out with, you know what I mean? A lot of these artists come out and they dissect, you know what I mean, the words and, you know what I mean, and the real, the stories behind the bars. You feel what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of bar work that went back and forth and a lot of things that happened in the city that you hear on wax that you really didn't know. Those are true, real stories. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm thinking like when Mano did Rumors and he was talking about all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when he was sitting on another joint, once again, we're only saying it because it was said publicly. You know, like when he just stood on the Brooklyn joint with Joel Ortiz and Cashmere and Big Daddy King, where, Mano stood on his round, heard some Lil C just some ratting in Brooklyn. Her still got his chain in Brooklyn.
And shout to Lil C's.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but absolutely. But yeah, so like artists, they some of them, really be really living and talking what they see.
In terms of when you look at your experience, Kev, and when artists come into the game, how important is it to make that transition from understanding that you're in a legitimate business that can cost millions of dollars in terms of branding and earnings and staying out of the streets once you make that transition? Because we've seen recently with certain individuals, they have a problem kind of getting away from it, and they get in trouble because they can't get away from it.
Absolutely. A great question as well. Well, when I first work with an artist, or if I'm talking to anybody, the first question I always ask is, do you have your LLC? And they look at me like I'm crazy.
Limited licensing.
Yep. Then I say, well, do you have ASCAP or BMI? And they go, huh? See what I'm saying? You got a bank account. You got a business bank account. What? First 3 questions I ask all the time. And because I don't even care about your music. I just want to know if your foundation is right, because you can't build shit on sand. You feel what I'm saying? And it also tells me where your mind is at. Because if your mind ain't even in them 3 places, then your mind ain't on business. Your mind is just on music. And I know it's the music business, but it should be the business music. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the first thing off top. I'm asking you right out. Now, if you say, nah, but tell me more, then okay, you're inquisitive. You just might not know. You feel what I'm saying? So now we can have a deeper conversation. So, to answer your question, you are a walking brand as an artist. And if you're not operating like that, then, you're going to fail. And, companies spend thousands and millions of dollars to protect their brand and protect, their property. And what you have as an artist is intellectual property. So you have to protect that, and you are a walking entity. So those are both things you have to protect. So if you get locked up, think about, Free, as head of Freedom Thinkers Academy. If God forbid something happens to Free, that's the head of the snake. Everything else dies. So he got to be protected. And then what do we have to do as people that work, for or with Free? We got to protect the head at all costs. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not doing that for yourself, then who are you? You're not fit to lead. You're not even fit to be a soldier. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
Yeah, so, it's important. And a lot of these artists nowadays, I was reading something the other day, A&R artists and repertoire, right? A lot of people be putting A&Rs in a bio. A lot of people be putting managers in a bio. But you can't even A&R manage yourself or your life. So how are you doing that? You feel what I'm saying? Just because, you can add that on Instagram or Facebook, that makes you entitled to be that. And that's one of the things that, bother me about this age. And I'm not talking, shit about any, up-and-coming person that's learning or talking about, anybody in the game that's aspiring to be. It's just when you're going out there and you're taking on clients and you're taking on, artists, you're actually managing people and you're managing people's lives and their livelihood. So make sure that, you understand what you're doing, not for them, but for yourself, if that makes sense.
Well, that's important because when you're dealing with it from all sides, being an artist and then a manager, you're having an artist who has a talent, and then it's up to the manager to guide and maximize it to be a perspective of how, everybody is able to really, really, really move accordingly. We've seen some individuals who shall remain nameless who, like to get out there, all get out on the internet, talking, always got something to say about other people, and we're looking at them like, yo, don't you got an artist to go manage?
Exactly.
Exactly. And then you're not making it good, and then you always get into beef with people where it's like, you making it hard for your artist to go anywhere. I'm like, dude, I'm like, for real though?
Yeah, but see, what did you just say? You just answered your own question. Protecting your brand. Because if you're protecting your brand and you tarnishing your brand, you're tarnishing everything underneath it. You know what I'm saying? So you killing yourself, you shooting yourself in the foot. So you're not even, paying attention to what you're supposed to be doing as an artist and as the person that's leading anybody. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
When you think about how advertising and all that works, you mentioned your working in Double XL and shameless promotion because I have every Double XL since 1997.
Salute.
That shit y'all saw me come to the show with, that was light work.
Appreciate you, King.
Absolutely. That wasn't everything I had.
Salute.
But yeah, what do how do you feel about the element of journalism today in terms of magazines? Some people say that publications are obsolete and everything. How do you feel about it today?
Wow. So that's a great question. So I will and anybody can fact check this, but I'm gonna go on the limb. I don't want to be soldier boy, but I want somebody. I'm gonna say it like this: I want somebody to show me something different, right? So, my company, Checkmate New York, was the first company to put an advertorial in Double XL, and they didn't understand what an advertorial was. We had to sneak ads inside of Double XL. Because we couldn't pay for ads. You feel what I'm saying? We didn't know what it is. And I had an ill motherfucker. He don't work there no more, so I hope I'm not getting in trouble. But his name was Victor Bellis, man. Shout out to Vic. He was an Italian dude over there, and I sat down with him, and I pitched him the vision, and he understood it. He was like, listen, Kev, I don't know if we can get this done. This shit ain't never been done before, but let's run it. So we had underground artists that's never been heard before inside Double XL by purchasing ad space. Right? Advertising, and I hope I'm answering your question, runs the world. If you're not advertising inside of publications or advertising all over the place, then, you know what I mean, you fail to plan, you plan to fail. All right? You're missing a whole market share. That's the reason why companies, spend all of the dollars that they can on marketing and advertising. But let's get back to publications. At that time, you can get a Double XL, a Source, a Jive, a Word Up, and this, that, and the third, and all the news things, right? It was coming out monthly. Then it started coming out quarterly. Then it started coming out yearly. But what happens, them things still come out. What's the other one they have? Hip Hop Weekly. It's coming out weekly. See what I'm saying? Then it started coming out monthly. Then it started coming out quarterly. It started dropping. But what do? They still come out. So when they say print advertising is dead, is never dead. Now, dead means obsolete. Dead means you'll never get one again. That's dead. You feel what I'm saying? It's another avenue. It's another channel. It's another medium to be able to promote and advertise yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, it goes back to what I was saying earlier in regards to showcases and open mics. If you have an opportunity to get yourself inside of a print magazine, I would definitely say take it, because that's something that you can grab with you physically and take to something else to sell yourself. It's another sales tool. Because another thing that I tell my artists is that, the world is made up of two things. You're either buying or selling. You know what I'm saying? And as an artist, you should always be selling.
Yeah, and that's true. And the thing is, people have to understand when you're getting out there like that, it's always important to exposure. When we looked at the unsigned hype and the Source, and before we go on, we also have to shout out some of the godfathers of this. Of course, shout out to John Blasingame, Word Up.
Oh, shit. My dog, John. Yo, that's one of... I'm sorry, go ahead. Yes,
no,
John
go ahead.
Blasingame.
No, go ahead. He's a friend of ours. We had him on the show last year.
So do me a favor, and I don't even know if you remember that story. So when I worked at Avarex, man, John Blasingame, he was the first person to allow me, when I first got there, to put the Avarex boots inside of a fashion show. It was a fashion show in New Jersey. And John Blasingame, he was like, you know what? Young kid, baby face, 17. I was 17 years old. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Long dreads in my head. And I was like, listen, all I would do was just open up magazines. And I find names and I call them, hey, I did it up. He was like, you know what? Bring the boots down there. I got a couple people that could walk. He had females walking in the fucking Avarex boots inside of the thing. He was the first person that gave me the shot. So shout out John Blasingame. I'm sorry, but that just...
No, Kev, it's all right. Because, I still got his number. I'm going to try to see if I can link him after the show.
Please, yo. I just wanted to tell him, thank you, man, because he gave me, he didn't know it at the time, but he gave me the confidence to be able to reach out and call people that, in situations in high places like that, and be able to get the job done. It was because of him.
Yeah, of course, Dave Mays and John Schechter, who started Source Magazine.
Yes, sir.
Of course, Elliot Wilson, who started Double XL.
Mm-hmm.
We got to look at all the writers, like Julia Beverly, who started Ozone Magazine.
Ooh, damn.
Oh, yeah.
Ozone. Yeah. Hell yeah.
My bad is
damn.
Either we know these people.
Damn, Ozone.
Either we know these people or we know about them. Of course, like I said, Elliot Wilson of Double XL. Of course, our writers like Vicky Toback, who's authored, Contact High. Most recently her newest book, Ice Cold, of course, The Streets Win. That's her newest book. Shout out to shameless, promotion here. Shout out to Rizzo Books for the copy y'all sent me. I really, really appreciate and love y'all so much. Yeah, man. It's rich in terms of what goes on. We got to take it back to Averex for a minute, because for those that don't understand, Averex was the brand back in the day. We're talking about, in terms of the hierarchy of New York jackets, you're talking about Bear, you're talking about Pelly Pelly, and then there's Averex.
Yes, sir. Salute.
The whole fashion vibe, Kev. Because obviously you are an expert as well in fashion as well as in music. The style that encompassed the Big East. Timberland boots for all seasons, big winter coats, baggy jeans, the T-shirts, jerseys. What was that vibe in terms of just fashion, and what did it mean? Then we look at, the fashion queens like Misa Hilton Brim, April Walker, out west, shout out to our one of our biggest supporters, Kenya Ware. What did it mean back in the day in terms of the fashions and Dapper Dan, the Godfather.
I just about to say Dapper Dan. You have to understand, hip hop. Once again, we talked about the word culture, right? And people once again use it loosely. Hip hop is essentially a culture, and in New York City, it just embodied everything to me that was hip hop. And then we had our own brands out there. Gino Green, you had Walker Wood. We had Carl Kanai. Nas had Willie Esco. You had Fubu. Johnny Blaze came out. Yeah, Wu Wear. You feel what I'm saying? But that was all shit. So back then, it was cool to be an individual. Now you can rock some of the same stuff, but it was how you put it together. Now, everybody want to have the same Louis sneakers, same Balenciagas, and this, that, and the third. Is cool to be uniform. You know what I'm saying? Only time you was in uniform was if you was a part of a team or part of a squad. You talked about cliques earlier. That's the only time you see people in the same shit or pulling up in the same shit. But before, it was individuals and how you threw your shit together. You might grab something and put something together and make your own shit. So, hip hop, fashion was just the backdrop. That's why I love Griselda, because they found a way, to mix the fashion with the hip hop and, and preserve it and make it to the culture and bring it to where we are today. That's why, you see, West Side, on, in Paris and stuff like that, moving the way that he's moving. But he's been doing this, for, I would say, damn near 15 years. I remember a quick story about West Side and Griselda. They used to run around with, what's my man's name? Damn, I see his face, but I can't think of his name right now, which is crazy. Sky Zoo. So Sky Zoo was moving.
Yeah, dope.
Yeah, and then Griselda was at A3C, right? And then I know you guys know hip hop. So I was doing my radio show, Real Radio. So I'm interviewing hip hop, and I was like, yo, who you liking? He was like, yeah, man, these kids are Zelda. I think they running around here somewhere, West Side, and, Conway. And I said, word, I don't even know who they are, point them out. So then, he pointed them out. We was at the Stankonia. And then, we chopping it up, just talking, Sky Zoo, my man. So I'm really talking to Sky Zoo. But then, West Side and Conway in front of me, I was like, yo, I heard some nice things about y'all too. And actually, my people have been talking about y'all for a couple of years. So like, yeah, salute, but they're not really paying attention to me. They looking at the stage. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot who was performing. He was like, you fucking with them? And then I'll never forget it. Conway turned around. He was like, yo, we gonna be on the stage one day. I promise you. Watch. I promise you. He gave me his number. He was like, yo, you can come through and interview me tomorrow, but I'm envisioning us on the stage right now. Next year, they was on that stage, which is crazy. You know what I mean? So
speaking into existence.
You speaking into existence. He said it real stern too. I'm just envisioning us on that stage right now. This shit was crazy, but you know what I mean? I don't know. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's crazy because, you know, we talking about fashion and how it's important. And just, you know, bringing it back to the original question.
Right.
Averex and everything that was going on in New York City, it helped push the culture of the music further. Because not only would people tune in to listen to what the songs were, they also wanted to see what everybody had on. You feel what I'm saying? And they would run to the store and they would go cop what they had on. You know what I mean? And put their own specific flavors together. And what you had on, you know what I mean, back then was important to your individuality and spoke to who you were as a person and as an artist, if that makes sense. You feel what I'm saying? So I felt good to be, you know what I mean, in the mix of something that was pushing, you know what I mean, the identity of New York City to the forefront. If you had an Averex coat walking around, you know what I mean, early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, you know what I mean, you were saying something. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I feel blessed and honored to have been a part of that.
I mean, when you think about that whole era, I mean, with Fat Farm, like you said, Carl,
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
DKNY.
Yep.
I mean, it was Moschino. I mean, what else?
Yeah,
We had, man, what else was there? Enise or NY.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everybody had those.
I don't know if y'all remember. Y'all remember RP55?
Yeah, Ron Perry 55. That was
Yeah.
Hampton Road.
Yeah.
Iceberg Slim.
Absolutely. So they used to have this big show called The Magic. I don't know if y'all remember that. The Magic used to be. It was a big clothing show, and that's where all the buyers used to come to. You know, you go down there, you showcase your stuff, and that's where all the buyers used to come to determine whether they were gonna get you in Macy's or get you in Dr. J's or this, that, and the third. That's where they all came to saw your brand, and that's how I knew what was popping, and I knew what the competition was. I would have to go to the Magic. You feel what I'm saying? So what I would do is go to the Magic, and then, you know, if it was 1998, 1999, we bought the 2000 or 2001 AVs. You feel what I'm saying? And you kind of, you know, so I'll be rocking the 2000 AV, but we got the 98, 99 line showing. You feel what I'm saying? To dictate what was going on or what was, you know, people would see in the future. And that was just always my mind to stay ahead of the game. So whatever was in the streets, I'm making sure that I'm wearing something that was ahead of that. And that's just, you know, how, you know, I always like to be. I always wanted to stay one step ahead of anything that was going on in the streets in regards to fashion.
Man, and I mean, that was just a time, too, because when you think about the stores, like you said, Dr. J's up against the wall, you know, I mean, those are like...
S&Ds.
Yeah. I mean, S&D Underground. Yeah, man. And that was like, you know, we had a place, rest in peace, Military Circle Mall out here in Norfolk, you know, Virginia. You know, they had a place called Legends, and Legends was like, you know, if you were shopping at Legends, you was doing it. You know, Foot Locker, but that was like Legends had like man, we could go all night with this shit. Parasuco jeans, you know.
Damn.
Hell yeah, Parasucos. Yeah, that. You know, yeah, that's real.
I mean, yeah, but
that's
it's like,
real.
You know, certain spots, man, it was like New York was the fashion mecca for a reason, and it brought so many styles. You know, in terms of when you look at probably when you look at it in terms of, like I said, Dapper Dan started it in terms of Gucci in with everything. I mean, but as you saw the money come in, you saw a lot of dudes, you know, the money started coming in. You saw people, you know, rocking a little bit more flashy. You know, I mean, you look at, I mean, I remember Raekwon did his album shoot, you know, in terms of the promo for Mobilarity, and he had on the Gucci apron, and we're like, with the pads, with the hot pads. I mean, you know, I mean, when we saw, you know, Ghostface rocking the Versace robe, and we're like, yo,
in the Eagle.
I don't know how true it is, but I heard a story that supposedly that Ghostface blew his whole budget on the Pretty Tony album for that Eagle. With the K2.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Shout out to the great Ghostini, man. And of course, you mentioned Sky Zoo. We had him on the show a couple years ago. Good guy.
Yep. Good guy.
And shout out to Griselda. Shout out to Benny the Butcher, of course. Tony De Niro, especially. City Boy, got to meet those guys when they came here this year, man.
super guys, man, and to watch the movement of what they're doing. Kev, how do you feel about them bringing back that vintage New York sound in terms of what they're doing with it?
Nah, I love it. That's why, as we talking, it's bringing me back to, once again, I apologize earlier just for bouncing all over the place. Yeah. But as we talking and the conversation is evolving, it's bringing me back to, that era. I love what Griselda's doing. If people ask me, who's one of your favorite artists right now, who are, I would say Conway, Westside and Benny. And then now recently, J. Cole, just for how he's walking on tracks. But I love what they're doing in regards to the sound. When I think of what New York should sound like, it's that. Right. Now, I don't want to say, I don't want to be one of them, old school artists or, beating down the new school music and this, that, and the third. But I will say, if you're talking about vintage hip hop, then, just beats and lyrics. Beats and lyrics. I'm not talking about nothing else. That's what Griselda is. Now, when you're talking about, the music that we hearing today,
right.
Listen, it's music. You feel what I'm saying? Music is music, and music is subjective. Know what I mean? So I'm not going to shit on nobody. I'm not going to shit on nobody's talent. There's a lot of artists that's coming out of New York that that I'm rocking with. Like Scarlett's new record I rock with. That Connie Diamond shit that just dropped with Remy Ma on it and Dave East. I know they on that Philly wave right now with that Blick and shit. Shout out to DJ Crazy and Beach 30 and them. And Too Rare. Like, they made that a phenomenon. But that's one thing, respectfully, that I don't like about New York at this moment, if we being for real. New York has never been copycat anything. And I think there's a lot of copycat in NY right now, and that the identity of NY is lost. So, and that's what I respect about Griselda, to bring it full circle. They made sure that the identity of NY is preserved. And I'm just talking beats and lyrics. I'm not saying that the music is basura, trash, and none of that. I'm just saying that the identity of what we know New York sound to be. Now, you could say there's a new New York, but if that new New York sounds like something else, then it's not new. It's just a variation of something else.
And also, too, Kevin King, because I will admit, it took me a while to really grasp the genius of the collective family of Griselda. Mm-hmm. But when I really got deep into them, because I got heavy deep into them about 5 years ago, when I really, really started listening, I was like, this is the most fucking illest shit I've ever heard in my life. Mm-hmm. But also, too, they are a testament to perseverance and tenacity. Because people don't know that, Westside started Griselda Records back in 2004.
Absolutely.
Benny started Black Soprano Family back in 2012 when he got out of prison.
Absolutely.
Westside Conway started drum work music about 2-3 years ago. So this was something that is as successful as they've been, as dope as they are, it didn't come overnight.
Exactly. You can't forget Fred the Godson 38 Special. My fault.
Yes. Of course, the 38 Splash joined at him, and I think that was him and Conway did. And I got the record. I'm mad as shit but the Cocaine Cowboys joined it. They did. When you look at the crew that they've got, shout to Keisha Plume, Tiana Denise, all of them. Armani Caesar, it's just they've got a whole crew of spitters. Street Soprano,
Prego Bass.
They got a whole clique.
A lot of them.
Yeah,
it's a lot of them, bro. I didn't mean to cut you, but I just
no, it's okay. Yeah.
A lot of them, bro.
And it's the continuation. Because we look at how it used to be back in the day. You had Death Row, you had No Limit, you had Rockefeller. It was just, it really was a vibe to just see everybody with their own movement doing what they did. And also we got to shout out Naya Rodriguez. She said so many great things about you all.
Oh, I appreciate that. Naya, that's the queen right there. She's dope. That's a person right there that, she She does what she says and says what she does, and
Absolutely.
that's important. That's important in this game. There's a lot of people that's not just genuinely authentic, and
Yeah,
she is 1,000%. So you know, what I mean, one love always.
Yeah, man. She's been a big supporter of us as well, man, and we really just love her and appreciate her as well. So I know I was out of it for a minute. So ultimately, in terms of, because we want to get to the Free Thinkers Academy, Freedom
Oh
Thinkers
yeah,
Academy.
we got to. I don't know how much time we got.
Yes.
I mean,
we got a little bit. We got 40 minutes, so let's get it. Obviously, this was the brainchild of Freeway in terms of what he envisioned in terms of health, wellness, music, culture, all around contributing to the community in a positive way. How did that come about in terms of what he started, and how did you end up being involved with it?
Yep, absolutely. So, you know, I mentioned before, so Freedom Thinkers Academy is music, health, education, and culture, right? So, you know, pretty much already told the inception of it in regards to the change and, you know, just being a part with Senator 215 and, you know, I mean, free listening and things of that nature. So that's how we connected. And, you know, he just, you know, brought, you know, Son into the fold and myself into the fold as being a part of the team. In regards to Freedom Thinkers Academy, it's a lot of sectors of it. So music, you know, Free got that covered, and he also has artists. Shout out Senator 215 once again. You got Clemmy, you got Scalito, Jay Huff. You know, I don't want to forget anybody, so I can't. Sandy Benjamin. You know, I want to, you know, Day. You know what I'm saying? First Lady. So it's a lot out there in regards to artists. Then health. You know, it's everything that Freeway has been through on his health side. I know that you've heard the, you know, unfortunate situations with his children and
yes,
the
sir.
unfortunate passing of his father. You know, I mean, rest in peace to, you know, everybody in his family. You know, so that's why, you know, the health and you know what he's going through in regards to his kidney transplant and his health journey. So that's the health portion of it, and that's why what he does and what he stands on is near and dear to his heart, because it's everything that he's really went through. The culture is what we're talking about right now, is woven through this whole conversation. So that's how you can get, you know, Son performing over here or me speaking to you guys representing Freedom Thinkers Academy. We are the culture. You know what I'm saying? Now, education is how we help revitalize the community. And we have workforce certification programs. And essentially what we do is we take students from the classroom to the workforce. And we teach them things like medical billing and coding, phlebotomy, pharmacy tech, medical assistant. But then we also have the entrepreneurship program. We have audio visual where we teach people, of course, how to record, mix, master. But then we also teach them how to shoot, edit, do videos. But then we also teach them how to do marketing, advertising, how to get an LLC. So we give them all the materials that they need, and then we place them with jobs. And we don't give them jobs, but we provide them the opportunity to sit in front of a potential employer. And if they're able to get hired, and they do get hired, great. And then we follow them. We have an FTA follow-up program to make sure that they're thriving within those positions. So Freeway's goal is to not only, you know, what the legacy is, and that's why, you know, we work so well together. He wants people in not only Philly, but across the world to be able to not only feed themselves, but to feed their families as well. And then that's, you know, Freedom Thinkers Academy's way of revitalization.
That's called paying it forward because, you know, go ahead, King. Go ahead,
I said that was dope.
Yeah.
And appreciate you.
Man, and the one thing about it, people have to understand, especially our youth, sometimes everybody gets caught up in the pell-mell rush of being a celebrity and everything. But I'm like, the thing is, we are never going to dump on anybody's aspirations. That's not what we do. We're not dream killers. We are dream encouragers. We are cheerleaders. We are fans of people who strive to endeavor in entrepreneurship and excel at it. But the reality is that not everybody is going to make it. When you talk about the NFL, there are 1,696 players that make it into the league out of a possible 6,000 players from across 3 divisions of college that graduate every year. probably more than that. And you're looking at between 32 teams, that's roughly about 10,000 players who are trying out for a team. And less than 3% are actually going to make an active roster of 53. So when you're dealing with music as well, y'all, music is a tricky deal because music is subjective, like you said, Kev, and it's about really finding your audience. Once again, we're not saying this to be haters. We're saying this because God has blessed us to be journalists. We've been students of this. King especially has had an extensive journalist history. I'm a hip-hop nerd for years. So we've seen how this shit works. And you being a professional, you've seen it. So you know how hard it is for artists to break through. You've seen situations where artists had a dope ass song, but the follow up wasn't there, or they just couldn't get it. After that, they just couldn't sustain the momentum. And it is a lot harder to maintain that being an artist because your music may not get out to everybody.
Absolutely.
You might be big, but you might only be big in your area. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
And that's why I tell the thing is we have to tell our young people with social media, some of the fuckery that goes on, that's not the way you should live your life. You should live your life with honor, integrity, respect, and morals.
That's the only way to push forward.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with being a plumber or being a policeman or being a teacher or working a carpenter job or anything because we need those jobs. There's nothing wrong with working in fast food.
We got to go back to that time period. We got to go back to that time period where we can't shame the common worker because the common worker is needed. The common worker, in fact, kept this country afloat where everybody stayed at home. Everybody was in the office.
Mm-hmm. That's the backbone. But see, what happens is that, once again, if we talk about internet, I always call it's the struggle between perception and reality, right? So internet is what everybody, you want everybody to perceive you to be. But then once you log off, that's when reality hits you. You know what I'm saying? So the people that succeed are the ones that are genuinely able to navigate through both, being able to insert their reality into you guys' or everybody else's perception, and that's how you win. But once you lose your reality into perception, you will always fail because you're chasing something that you'll never be able to obtain. And that's the problem. That's the problem. We have a lot of people that's running around in these streets right now. They'll never be able to obtain that false reality. If they get a glimpse of it for a second, they can't hold it. It's not real.
And the problem is, too, we've seen this at times. We've seen people do stupid shit just because they were addicted to it in terms of they could not stay out of they had to be in the spotlight. And
gotta be. Do anything for likes.
Yeah. And I mean, King and myself, we've been blessed. We're just two dudes from down south who got a love for the culture, who've met some pretty dope people, you and so many others along the way. But we work regular jobs like anybody else, and we're not ashamed of that. Mm-hmm. But we also understand, being older, the importance of anonymity in the sense of not letting everybody know what you have. Mm-hmm. If I buy a new pair of Jordans, I'm not advertising shit. I'm not flashing a whole bunch of money out there. I'm not, saying I'm going to go out and buy this no, that's nobody's business. You'll see me with it in the street when I got it.
That's a fact. Well, I'm going to say this, and I'm agreeing with you 1,000%, but I'm also going to talk to the artists out there as well. Right?
Go ahead.
So there's two sides to that story. I agree with that, but you also have to, and make sure it's reality, play the position that you're in. You see how they say dress for the job that you want? It goes both ways. You have to navigate through reality and through perception accurately, right? You can't work. And I tell people this all the time. You work your 9 to 5 to support your 6 to 8, right? Most people have a 9 to 5 job. They want to act like they don't, but they do. They got something that they do, because if you get 1 million streams on Spotify, you're getting about $7,000 to $10,000. You're making $7,000 to $10,000 a year. You're not paying any bills. You can't buy a pair of Balenciaga. Let's be honest with you. You have to be doing something else to get money if that's what you just making money off of the streams. And most of the
Absolutely.
up and coming artists right now are not being booked every single day for $15,000-$20,000 like the artists that I work with or some of the artists that are out there right now. So let's keep it real. You're working somewhere. You're doing something. So so if you're doing that and you cop that Louis belt and you cop this, you cop that, that's cool. You have to show that because that's what we call a rapper kit, right? But don't go broke. On the rapper kit. You
The
know
rapper
what I'm saying?
kit.
Find a way, you know what I mean, to cop the shoes. Then you show the shoes, but then you throw in a $30, you know what I mean, pair of jeans and maybe a polo tee. You know what I mean? And take that money and invest it in something else. It's going to double it into something else because it's 7 streams of income that you got to have to be successful. And it's not just rap money. And it's not just dope money because that dope money could put you in jail. You feel what I'm saying? So that's just the other side of the coin. I'm agreeing with what you're saying, but if nowadays the way that artists I'm speaking to right now are being perceived, if you don't look a certain type of way, people are looking past you. Unfortunately, the way this game is.
And that's true because a lot of times when you look at certain legends, when you look at guys like Mos Def, when you look at guys like Big
Black
Thought, these are legends and these guys, but their branding coming in the game. And this is no shame to anybody else who was flashy. Matter of fact, we look at the modern era. Big, rest in peace. I mean, when we seen that nigga wearing Coogee sweaters, we were like, this motherfucker here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Where that came from.
Yeah. I mean, and when we saw Jay-Z, rocking platinum, he said, I was rocking platinum and all you bitches thought it was silver. I mean, shout to Hove, man. He was, whipping the, had the old 96.
The bucket-eyed necks.
Yeah.
But think about it though, real quick, right? Because I know we're coming up on it. If you think about it real quick, right? That was his brand. He sat into his brand. He was branding. This is what Rick Ross. I'm not mad at Ross.
You remember about Rose?
Rose, that's his brand. That's once again to bring it back full circle.
Rose,
weaving reality into perception. Whether he had the bread or not, he had somebody to be able to front it. So that way, every time you see him, you saw him in it. It had to be real, regardless if it was real or not. He made that reality, that perception of reality. That's what real artists do.
And we say this lovingly about Ross because we don't mean no shade. We shout to him, Jeter K, Trop Da Vinci, whole slab, the whole MMG. Because we say that dude, we say it lovingly. Man, Ross never break kayfabe.
Ross ain't never breaking character.
that dude is a character every time.
Even the real Freeway Wick was like, man, I'm gonna let him have it.
I believe it. But see, here goes the crazy thing. I've never met Ross a day in my life, so I couldn't tell you what his reality is. I don't even know what my reality or what my perception is of him, right? So anybody could say anything they want to say to me, but I would have to see it for myself to believe it, and that's how strong perception is.
It is, but I mean, for what he's done in terms of he really brought that persona in turn. And one thing about Ross, if y'all have not read his books, Hurricanes, which is his autobiography, and The Perfect Day to Boss Up, which is his, success manual about, pick up both of them, both written with Neil Martinez Belkin, great author. He really laid it out because reading Hurricanes, Rose told his whole life story, unfiltered. And it was a lot to see this, because to see William Leonard Roberts II grow to be Rick Ross and to be one of the legends of the game, to understand what he had to go through in Matchbox projects in Miami, growing up, going all around Carroll City, everywhere, and he was really out there. And to see that growth, to understand where he wanted to go, because the man always had a vision. He talks about, back in the day, you probably could have booked him for like $1,200 when he was going under the name Teflon Don, so he's very open and honest in the book about talking about it wasn't always like this. But
that's a testament.
It is, but to see what he, has been able to do in terms of being a source of inspiration. Shout out to Erica and BMF Cash in Atlanta, how he supported them with their, get yourself some Rich Friends brands. Rose, beneath it all, has always been about empowering and inspiring others. And we cannot thank him enough, for what he has done. In terms of just showing people how to go get it. Like he said, you can be a boss at a fast food place, frying fries. Just, you know what you're doing, you got it.
Exactly.
And that's in life. Don't let nobody, I tell anybody this, don't let nobody steal your shine when you're too radiant to be dimmed. Your brightness will illuminate everything around you.
Absolutely. I'm with you, brother. Nah, that's A1. And one thing that I will say that once again is woven throughout this entire conversation, and I appreciate both of y'all for taking the time. Like we've been on like an hour and some change. I can't wait till this is chefed up.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking forward to it. Because this has been a dope conversation, and I even appreciate you guys just inviting me out and just speaking. But consistency is key, right?
Yeah.
And it don't matter what you're doing. Just to your point, family, it don't matter what you're doing, but if you're doing it consistently, you will be successful. And that's guaranteed. I've seen it. I've seen too many people not stop and just make it just off sheer will. And I always tell people that, when I do my consultations or when I'm talking to my class, and it sounds cliche-ish, but it's the truth. It's the people that quit that fail. That's it.
Yeah. Even with all the shit he's been going through lately, what's been going on with Puff Daddy, he always had a saying. He said this in a '99 issue of Source magazine. He said, the things that I have, the lifestyle I live, I got working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 10 years. And if you do that shit, you will be somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to talk about all Puff's legal issues right now. That's already well documented. That's not what we do off the cuff. But we will say this. One thing about Puff, that motherfucker gets... We always refer back to the interview we did with Doug Young. Shout out to Uncle Doug. And Doug talked about the meeting where he just saw Puffy go off on a whole bunch of executives. And this is before Puff actually becomes like this dude he would eventually be.
Kanye West, I hate that nigga, man. Plus, I seen the nigga at one of the parties and shit, sucking dick in the bathroom. Kanye West, I hate that.
This is going back like the early 90s. It's like 1991, like 92. And Doug said, that motherfucker's going to be somebody one day. Because Doug saw it in Puff early, what he had. In terms of how Puff is one of them dudes, he's going to get it no matter what. That's just who he is.
I'll tell you one thing, and that's a fact, and just to echo your statement, Shan the Bush and June Balloon worked for Puff at Bad Boy. Mm-hmm. Bad Boy was the best street team that I've ever seen in my life. And that was all orchestrated by Puff. Puff is a mastermind. Puff opened Justin's down the street from the office when I was, at Avarex on 21st. I believe Justin was on like 23rd between 5th and Broadway.
Yes, sir.
Justin's, right? He opened that up, man. But after his kid, that was the hot spot before 40/40 and anything else. Like Puff was the innovative shit. You know what I mean? So, just salute to his. We can go on and on about his innovation and regards to who he is and what he's done. But just salute to the consistency and the hard work of, people like Puff in this industry. Because that's why we're able to hop on the phone and talk about hip-hop for an hour and some change because of people like that.
What has it meant to you, Kevin, to be able to just live the dream, to literally be traveling, to be among legends, to have them as family, to know that everywhere you all go, that the legacy of The Rock is still alive and well and will shine bright like the diamond that it represents?
Shit, it means everything, bro. Like, shit. We've been talking for some change, and it's hard for me to put it in words. I'm gonna say it this way: I'm a fan first. So a lot of times, when you see me at a show, I probably got a chance to chop it up with you guys for a couple minutes, or maybe afterwards. I'm running around. If I'm seeing connecting this, doing that, making sure that move, so the people that are in the building get the show that they pay for and the show that they deserve, and the people that are on stage get a chance to rock out the way that they wanted to and needed to for y'all. But every now and then I get a chance to step back and soak in the moments, and it's amazing to me to be able to call these people, my colleagues, but also my brothers, and then watch them do what I've been listening to coming up in the game. I wouldn't trade that for anything. You feel what I'm saying? And then be able to feed myself and my family off of something I love. I think that's the most important thing as well. And that's what I believe that, going back to the beginning, my pops 1122 is proud of, because he knew that, music is something that I always wanted to do. And I'd always find a way in my spot in it. So for me to be doing what I'm loving, getting paid to do what I love is a win-win for me.
And what you said, Kev, about consistency is key. Once again, I'm shamelessly big up my brother to tell him how much I love him, because King Sandman, and Chinchilla gave me an opportunity, and people I knew said I could do radio. I just never thought I really had the personality, but I would always call in off the cuff radio. And then they were like, one day, we just need to bring this nigga on.
Really? Yeah.
Well, great call, yes, sir. Yeah, you definitely got it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. Just it's like we gonna bring him on the team, man, because he knows his shit. He knows stuff that I don't even know. So I'm like, we need to bring him on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm making, a 1-2 punch, like dynamic duo, man. Like, it's real ease. Like, I've done, interviews and conversations, but, the time passed by, feels just like a conversation, which is
right.
Your interview style is amazing. So I can see how you guys would get an artist like Ross or Scott Zoo, and, they'd be like, I'm only going to do 15, 20 minutes. And then you hit him with the SpongeBob 4 hours later.
That's how we catch a lot of them. That's how we catch a lot of them. Because a lot of them be like, yo, man, I can only do 15 to 20. Next thing you know, they stand about 1 hour and 20.
I already know. I could tell. Wifey looking through the window like, you stop? I'm like, yeah, we talking. So I could tell.
Yeah, man. But definitely, we definitely don't want to hold you up if you got stuff going on, especially with the wife. But definitely, Kev, you are welcome back anytime. Shout to you, Mackie, Beans, Chico.
Sir Mackie.
Man,
Chico, what up?
Yeah, man. Pain, it's bleak. It just, a free. The whole rock, man. Petey. Ochino Sparks, Young Guns. It's just,
it's
man,
family.
Yes,
family.
Yes, and like I said, me and Chico talked about something in terms of maybe we'll talk about that off air, because that's something he just floated the idea, but I'll hit you about that and see if he hit you about it. But I still got the memorabilia, still. Like I said, that was a light night that y'all saw me with. That wasn't even everything I had.
Man, listen, that shit was epic, bro. You pulling out, of course, the memorabilia and everything that you brought through, and then you see how everybody's face lit up. You know what I'm saying? Like collectors, and epic. So salute to you, and I appreciate the fact of the family environment and open arms that y'all treated everybody with. And it's not like that in every city. You know what I'm saying? It's always love, but you can tell genuine love. You know what I'm saying? And that's what y'all come with. So just, salute to y'all.
Absolutely. You're welcome back anytime, of course. Look, any artist that that you're trying to help get out there, because you do all types of work, being a master at every trade of commerce. Anybody that that maybe needs a little push in terms of promotion, an interview, you got King and mine's number. Hit us anytime.
I'm gonna take you up on that. Absolutely will.
Definitely.
Absolutely will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hell, if y'all even come across Jay, tell him we definitely want to Tell Jay he can't duck forever doing interviews. Tell him he's got to come out and do interviews somehow.
Exactly.
Nah, he will. Trust me, I'm sure he will. I feel like Jay's the evil genius. I feel like there's some other things cooking. I mean, that last God did verse. I mean, he still, best karate
He
still
still
inside.
got it.
Like there's more stuff in there that he wanted that he got to say. You feel what I'm saying? I just got a sneaky suspicion there's some other things, other people, other situations he wants to address. So
we need another Jay album.
Don't be surprised. It might be some. That's what I'm gonna say. But I want to say this though. Shout out, of course. Son of 215. Zig the artist. Shout out. Ines, Dutchy Man. Me, we. You know what I mean? That's a group I rock with now. Ray. You know what I mean? Anybody that cross paths. I don't want to just shout people out, but you know what I mean that I cross paths with. That's lent me a helping hand. Tim Stone, the brain. That's helped me out in my career, helped me out personally, professionally, anything. I definitely appreciate y'all. My brothers ALC, JV, Disrespect Wear, appreciate that. And I also have my sister company, that I'm working on my wife, which is One Stop Wellness MD. And what that is we help people with mental health. I think mental health is big in this entertainment industry as a whole, not just talking hip hop. There's a lot of people that has suffered through trauma, has went through things in their life.
Chris
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
It's important. It's important, and we as people, and I won't even colorize it. We as people don't really sit back and address what we've been through our life and what makes us who we are today. You feel what I'm saying? What we do is we tend to react. So with One Stop Wellness MD, we dive into your mental health and make sure that you're the best version of yourself that you can be. So that's something that you can look out for 2024.
Absolutely. I mean, we look at what happened. Rest in peace to Shakir Stewart, Chris Lighty. One thing about it, people aspire to be in the celebrity spotlight, to have that on them. But King Kev, one thing about it is people really don't understand what goes on, the high level of stress that goes on. I mean, you look at what Taraji P. Henson was talking about in terms of how she gets paid and how she really didn't make the money everybody thought she made. And how, these, you look at what, these, like you said, these are people first, and they go through a lot of things. I mean, and when people think you have something, look, we know motherfuckers in the street, regular people who may have been blessed a little bit, and people so can imagine having a whole lot of money, being a celebrity, and everybody knows that you have it.
Mm-hmm. And that's when the real stress comes in, because everybody know and everybody calling you. Now them calls don't turn into, hey, what you doing? It's, hey, can I get? I call them, can I get? You feel what I'm saying? It ain't even a regular question anymore. Can I get this? Can I get that? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? Like one ill line that sounds like a cliche, more money, more problems. But that shit is a motherfucking fact.
It is.
The more money you get, the more problems it attracts. And then, you need an outlet, and you need to really address whatever problems they are. So mental health is important. So I'm hoping that, people, take the time to study themselves.
Definitely. Shout out to, you and your wife. Shout out to Chico as well for the foundation that he's doing. We got to get Chico on as well. We got to get Payne.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Kev, this has been absolutely engaging, enthralling, exciting, and educational. Your warmth, your generosity, your candor, your friendship, your wisdom. We at Off the Cuff appreciate you all so much for you acknowledging us. And we anything the Rock needs from any of you, anything you need from us, we are here.
Yes, sir.
So the Rock is still alive as long as OTC, we still on the rise.
Yes,
so
sir.
we ride with y'all till all wheels fall off. And even if it's 4 flats, guess what? We're going to pick it up, and keep going.
Yes, sir. You already know. Appreciate y'all, man. FTA.
No doubt.
Here, man. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Blessed. To be a part of it, man. And anything you need from me, that's vice versa. Anything you see, anything you need, man, one call away.
No doubt,
Absolutely.
man.
Definitely. Man, definitely we're gonna be in touch and let us know we ready for part 2 and we're gonna get it.
I
You're
bet.
ready. Be ready.